You can always tell who the most affected people are in a disastrous situation. They're usually the first to arrive and the last to leave. They do it without much fanfare or spend a lot of time looking for the cameras. Instead, they invest into themselves, into the people that are hurting. Those investments can be in the way of providing food and water. Often, it is in the form of labor by clearing debris or rebuilding houses. We saw that recently with tornadoes, of course. But the biggest payday for everyone involved is usually found in a quiet conversation with those whose lives have been suddenly and drastically changed. One of the people that go the extra mile is Elaine Beck. She is the president and chair of Blessings Through Action, and she's been investing in the people of East Palestine, Ohio. They were in the headlines a lot, and all of a sudden they've disappeared, but not from Elaine's heart. Elaine Beck, good to see you here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Steve. The truth of the matter is these are wonderful people that might be in this for a long haul from what we're hearing, especially since a lot of it's going to be the unknown and how long it will happen. And the truth of the matter is these are some wonderful people. It was such a blessing. As you know, I've spent a couple hours with them today and got to have lunch with them and got to hear their stories. And I went there to hear their heart and what actually happened to them. And yet they built me up and told me the wonderful stories of the good that's come out of it. Do you believe that?
Well, I believe that,
isn't that
tragedy
wonderful?
Can spur great things from ordinary people that do exceptional things in the face of the greatest challenges. Yes, I believe that. Seems to me you might be one of those folks, but they built you up. Tell me about that.
Well, I went in there and asked them, what happened to you? How has this affected you? And the next thing I know, I'm hearing things like, the way it affected me was I found out that I was needed somewhere I didn't know I was needed before. And I've had opportunities to help others, and I feel so good about it. So, yes, we heard the stories of the pain and the fears, especially from people that have children and grandchildren. One particular lady said that she can't have her great-grandchildren come visit her because the parents don't want to bring the children into town anymore. So there's still such fear and such upset, but yet it always turned back to the positive and how they just appreciated what we did, what others have done for them. It's just makes your heart beat faster. It's great. They're
sure
wonderful
does.
people.
The people that set everything aside, right? The people that say, I go back, what they call it, the Cajun Navy. Remember the folks that show up in their little duck boats and all their boats after the hurricanes in Texas,
right.
Louisiana? The Cajun Navy shows up. I see that. I see these terrible tornadoes that have gone through the South in the last few weeks and done terrible. And people just show up. And then folks like yourself in East Palestine, Ohio, that show up to make a difference. I mean, that's the backbone of who we are as Americans, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, it's always the person that gives that receives more than anybody. And that's what I told them. They were shocked that I'd come all the way from Arizona to serve them a meal, listen to their stories, hear their heart, and just give them something to feel good about for today. But that's what it's about. It's what's happening in this moment. It's their needs today, but not forgetting that, it's like one of them so wisely said, it's like a disaster is like when you lose somebody, when they pass away, everybody comes and they're at your side and they mourn with you and they encourage you. And as days pass, there's less and less and less people. But they just feel like it's been a blessing to them to learn what they've learned and to see God in different eyes and different faces and different ways that people have helped them. And they just are so welcoming. And, my organization has the nonprofit, and it's called Be a Blessing. And it's beablessing.org. And anybody can go there and donate. And so it's wonderful to keep this going, keep it alive. Just like you said, people are forgetting it, but we need to keep it alive because this is long term for them. And they still need thousands of, what do they call them, air purifiers for the homes. And
Sure.
there's so many needs. Those are $600 a piece.
Yeah, it's expensive. And let's be honest, the people of East Palestine are modest people. They're not wealthy people. They're working folks doing their best. And the stories of some of them were so worried because their home values had crashed so badly.
Right.
And so they've got this, I mean, it's an emotional toll. And they thought they were ignored
Right.
from the beginning. And then people showed up, Donald Trump showed up, but then forgotten afterwards. Ignored in the beginning, forgotten afterwards. And you can't blame them for being distraught, can you?
No, not at all. And yet, they're still worried about each other more than themselves. And I think that was really the main story that I got today was, yes, they're concerned about what happens with their property value or if they could afford to live there or if anybody would buy their home. But right now, today, all they're worried about is those children. And one of the gentlemen who was a pastor there shared with me that he had gotten the kids together after a week of them all being taken away and staying away from school and everything. And he said he went into them and he said he had no idea what he was going to face because he thought, he looked at them and he went, wow, they're fine. Look at them. They look great. And he said, but in their words, I heard the fear and stuff from young children worried about what was going to happen tomorrow because they just lived through something so traumatic a week before. And so there's
How do you think
so
it does
much
affect
involved
the
in
kids?
that.
Yeah, let me ask you, Elaine, real quick before I let you go, though. The children there, I mean, they've seen all sides. They've seen the emotion of their parents, the heartbreak of the community, but they've also seen the uplifting people that show up and give themselves, like you say, blessings through action to lift the community back up. So the children have had all of those things to choose from. And hopefully they focus on the good things. What do you say about that?
Well, I say this, that, children are definitely what God said, what Jesus said, let the children come on to me because they have the heart and the ability to be flexible and learn from all of those values. And I think that they'll grow up to be stronger children. I found out as a child, I grew up in a very difficult situation, and I found out that that's what makes a person. Going through things like this will make them stronger, tougher, because they're open to learning and loving and giving. And I just think it's going to be a positive in the end. But right now, I know that they can't even have sports. They say that when they have any kind of sports event that's supposed to be at their school, nobody shows up. So it's really sad for them now, but I think down the road, they're going to grow and learn to understand that there are people that will come in like our organization and many others have, that they're going to see that side of it, and it's going to make them stronger.
That's my point. They're going to see that goodness of America.
Yes, absolutely.
Elaine, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Look it up. Blessings through action.
Thank you for having me today.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and you can go to beablessing.org and donate today.
Beablessing.org. Come on, people. Help her out. There you have it.
Yes,
Thank you,
help
Elaine.
them out.